Good morning. Dear Minister, dear Brune, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Finance for Tomorrow team, I'm delighted to welcome you to this fourth Climate Finance Day in Paris. Climate Finance Day that is particularly important this year, since it follows the 2 days of the global roundtables of the UNEP Finance. And I would like to thank again warmly UNEP Finance for choosing Paris for this very important international event. By the way, the numbers of events related to climate finance is increasing. This is a good sign, but it is essential to make sure that these events are useful. Since its first edition in 2015, we wanted the Climate Finance Day to be a place where the players come not only to present solutions, but to make commitments. However, as said this Monday, 2 days ago, the Minister of Economy, Bruno Le Maire, those who make commitments must stick to it. This year, we want to go further and present a stock-taking of sustainable finance worldwide. Climate Change, the association Climate Change, in collaboration with Finance for Tomorrow, has published a state of green finance all over the world, which shows progress and some resistance as well. We will carry out this assessment now every year, and we'll aim at improving each year this annual dashboard of finance for climate. This Climate Finance Day, at the eve of the COP24, is held in a very particular context. The ecological transition is these days at the heart of the news. We realize that the energy transition must take into account the social situation of the most fragile population. In this context, is it possible to talk about green finance? While the civil society has not forgotten the excesses that led to the financial crisis 10 years ago, and when the NGOs stress the continued funding of fossil fuels. I think it's difficult, but necessary. Necessary first because we have to show that the evolutions are real. Decisions to stop coal financing by several banks, investors, and insurance companies, the development of green bond market and the green loans market, the decisions of several management companies to switch to responsible investment, the emergence of impact investing, initiatives around natural capital, the creation of low carbon indices, all these examples show that finance is moving. Financial regulation is also changing with the action plan of the European Commission, the launch of the network of financial banks, or in France, the PACT Act requiring life insurance companies to propose green products. Secondly, it's necessary because finance needs to move forward. We can now see the consequences of climate change. California burns, climate migrations accelerate, islands disappear, biodiversity collapses. Faced with this reality, civil society demands accountability. Finance must meet the expectations of society. And third, it is necessary because without the mobilization of private finance, we will not achieve the goals. To make the transition successful, we have to invest heavily. The research center I4C has published the second edition of its Panorama of Climate Finance in France. It measures the investment gap in the field of energy efficiency of housing, clean mobility, renewable energies, agroecology. Only a massive mobilization of private finance will help meet these financing needs. So we must talk about sustainable finance without complex, but with enough transparency and ambition. This is the meaning of this week of events and actions organized by Finance for Tomorrow. Allow me to say a word about this initiative that we launched within Paris Europlace 2 years ago. At the beginning, there was a conviction. It is in the heart of financial centers that the battle for greening of finance must be led and won. In less than 2 years, Finance for Tomorrow has gathered more than 60 members and international observers. We have developed a platform for dialogue and work, launched a challenge for green fintechs, established a mapping of public and private research in climate finance, helped to create a market collaboration on biodiversity and natural capital, worked on innovative financing and blended finance. We must go further. The leadership of Paris on green finance will only be sustainable if we truly make it the hallmark of the entire industry. This is what the roadmap of the UNEP Finance and the PRI urges us to do. For this, we will strengthen the organization and the team of Finance for Tomorrow next year. Next year, we will launch new initiatives also, including the creation of a green finance training platform for financial sector professionals and an awareness-raising plan in the business schools and universities. I believe that we must also join forces. Initiatives multiply, we need coherence. I would like all the local Paris green finance initiatives, associations, think tanks, and researchers to meet and coordinate their action. 3 years ago, the slogan of the first CFD was Shift the Trillion. This year, we chose Get Up, Scale Up. So I wish you a very productive day of work today. And now I'm really very delighted to welcome Brune Poisson, the Secretary of State for Ecological Transition, and ask her to give her thoughts. Thank you very much to be.